really great about vacation is that you get that. So more moments like that in the future are what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. What do you hope or need differently going forward?
It's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the idea of it is like live with us. They just moved out like August 5th. So between August 5th and now, Zaya's been out of school for a week. So this week actually has been the only week. But like this week, we have been home alone together. We've never had day sex.
Because we had so much work.
Yeah.
So.
But I'm like looking forward to a time because even though we're high, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the idea of it is like really nice. The idea of not needing to do it because this is the only time, but do it despite the time. Like I really miss.
I would say, I don't know if my drive is higher. I think that my understanding of the need is higher. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you're working out before you have a photo shoot.
Yeah. And I totally understand. I am just not into pregnant sex. And anybody who's out there who loves it and is into it and they fantasize about it and they fetish it, more power to you. Me personally, it's not as fun. It's more or less like, for me, sex is about adventure. Sex is about exploring. Sex is about trying new things and getting into new territories. But with pregnant sex, there's like a limited amount of positions that we could do, and there's like a limited amount of things that we can do without putting you in an awkward position or hurting your body. So for me, it just kind of feels routine rather than like spontaneous.
So at this point, I am 9 months pregnant, and so we're at the end of the line, which means more sex, but it does definitely mean more uncomfortable sex. I'm uncomfortable right now, to be honest with you. I'm uncomfortable literally all of the time, and it has me a little bit worried.
Why?
I think because our relationship is so based on sex.
Yeah.
Like the reason we were talking about this, like some people get together because of financial stability.
Yeah.
They marry somebody in specificity because that person is well off. And so if that person stops being well off, it changes the dynamic of the relationship. And so because we came together because of sexual chemistry, the fact that we don't have it now is worrisome to me.
But it doesn't affect the way that I look at you. It doesn't affect the way that I look.
Able to talk about this type of subject publicly, you know, so I commend her for that. What I'm trying to do is make sure what happened last time doesn't happen again, because I feel like when I shared the things that I relate to her about not being in the space of wanting to have sex, it got taken as an insult. Not from you, but from the audience. I mean, maybe you did take it as an insult, I don't know. Yeah.
But she did make a key differentiation between what she's experiencing and what you talked about. So what she's experiencing is not, to make it plain English, are you experiencing low sex drive, or is your drive to have sex with your partner low? She's experiencing low sex drive that has nothing to do with her drive to have sex with her partner. When you related to her, you were experiencing the same sex drive, but less of a drive to have sex with me because I was in the 3rd trimester of pregnancy.
Yeah, but I think that's the thing that I think I disagree with, is that, you know, men and women may have different sex drives just naturally at certain points in their lives. And so I think that has to be a combination of the low sex drive for her partner as well. And that's just my assumption, but I just don't think that if you are in a space of just all around low sex drive, there has to be an implication of your partner being in that as well, because you guys are being sexual together. That was the root of your relationship. You guys shared a story about how it was so hot and magical at one point. So when you are not experiencing that, and then to be like, well, it's not on you, I think it's more of a protection base for the partner, rather than just being completely honest of like, hey, yes, I'm having a low sex drive, but you're contributing to that as well.
I'm having very low sex drive right now.
Yeah.
And I promise you, it has nothing to do with you.
But if it did, it's okay. And that's more so my point.
But it doesn't.
Okay.
So that reality exists.
I read that. I'm going to get attacked again. So
You're not going to get attacked again. I'm just saying that.
People work together. And so interdependence would be societies that are more community-based, but America's a very independent society. Like your dreams, your success, your this. And so some people grew up in families that were interdependent, and some people grew up in families that were independent. And when I think about you were by yourself by 18 years old.
Yeah.
You're not an only child. You have other siblings, but more or less, you've always been like the outside son.
Yeah.
Because both of your parents got remarried and had children with the person they were married to.
Yeah.
You've always relied heavily on yourself.
Yeah.
Jared went through a period of time where you were homeless.
Yeah.
You went through a period of time where you essentially were estranged from your family for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
My experience is the total opposite.
Yeah.
I come from a very tight-knit family. I come from a family where I always know I can rely on them.
Yeah.
And if push comes to shove or I'm in financial trouble, like I was asking you that, like when you were homeless, why didn't you go live with this person? Why didn't you reach to that person? You're like, that wasn't even an option in my mind.
Yeah.
And so I think sometimes your mindset goes to like I can do this. I want to do this. I'm doing this by myself. Whereas for me, I'm like, how do we do this together?
Yeah.
So I think that in those moments, and that was a really telling thing, like, because I said to you, you're not making space for me. What I meant by that is my vision of parenting was like, you change a diaper, I'll throw it out. Even in terms of cooking, I'm like, I cook, you clean. You cook, I clean. Like, we're doing things together. In my house growing up, if somebody came home with groceries, you got your ass up.
And you put those away.
You put it away.
Yeah.
Because that person did that job.
Yeah.
So there was always this trade-off thing happening. And so I envisioned the parenting being kind of like that, where we were doing it together, where you said to me, I thought you'd be happy that I'm doing everything.
Yeah.
You envisioned me on the phone with my friends, like, girl. Because sometimes when you get mad, you have to really assess, like, what about this is bothering me? And what was truly bothering me is that I don't have the capacity to truly enjoy my kid right now.
Okay.
And that hurt.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, there was, especially I think in the past, 2 weeks, things have gotten a lot better. But 2 weeks ago, it was just like, is hanging out with her was draining.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it still is. It still is. It still is a lot of emotion and a lot of drive out of you, because you have to do everything exactly the way she wants it, or you're going to get pushed back. And so it is draining. But I thought that's just parenting. I thought that's just like what it is. Like, this is just this is just a shitty time. Like, every parent that I've talked to who had 2-year-old, 1-year-old, it's great. That's not to take away great times. But at the end of the day, there's a reason why certain friends come over for an hour and they dip. Because she is a lot.
I think that's the gift that having two has given us, though.
Yeah.
Two has given me hindsight to be like, it doesn't have to be like this for everybody. Because Ryu is a particular way and Zaya is extremely different. And then I was saying this to you, which I really want to second this, is that we have what you might call a good baby and a challenging baby. Yeah. But good is only in context of the environment that we're trying to raise them in. In the wild, I think Ryu would be an incredible baby. Yeah. She'd be the perfect dream kid. And Zaya might be too timid, not aggressive enough. She might get forgotten a lot because she's not very vocal. But in this North American, westernized world, Zaya is quiet. She is easy to get along with. She's easily flexible. She's not very frustrated.
She chooses happy.
She chooses happy.
Yeah.
So in this environment, she's a good baby. Not that there's a good and a bad, just in this particular way that we live.
Yeah.
Yeah, the world isn't best suited for Ryu's.
I don't feel like us as a partnership, as a unit, really get time. We don't even sleep in the same bed anymore. And so there is a disconnect that you naturally start to feel. And sometimes you get to a place where, like, is there something wrong with me? Does she still love me? Is she still interested in me? Is she still about this? Like, because we don't have that connection that we naturally would get where we're laying with each other, or we're talking, or we're going out. And so that leads to, like, insecurities in our relationship.
What's interesting about hearing your experience is my experience is completely opposite to yours.
Okay.
Because I actually said this to you, that I don't even know how people could leave their partner at this time. Like, I am so in love with you, desperately in love with you, because you're all I have.
Yeah.
Like, the thought of isolating from you or not having you is not only something that makes me sick to my stomach, it's not even an option. Like, I would fucking die without you.
No, and
that's what I know. Yeah. But let me finish. That's what I'm saying is that knowledge, like, to your point, life is so crazy and so overwhelming and so busy. If I didn't have you, I would be dead. So every moment, and it's less moments than it used to be for sure, that I get to look over and I see you, I'm like, thank God for Jared.
Yeah.
Like, everything in me feels so much more connected and grateful and lustful towards you. Because, like, you're literally the difference between me and insanity. What do you think is different about our sex life now, if anything?
I just think it's quicker. It's not as long. It's not as, like, set up. It's not, it's just not as, like, time taken into it. It's more of like, we're gonna connect as long as we can, but we know we have something to get to, which is cool in some aspects, but it'd be nice if we had a couple times where we didn't have to squeeze it in, you know? But I think that will come when they get older and we can have one person watch both of them. Right now, we just don't have somebody who can take both of the kids away from us at a time. So we're just kind of stuck with this temporary quickies.
Hands and what they're doing. Like, I just get turned on by you all the time now.
It's the pregnancy. It's the more blood flow.
No, I don't know. You know what I actually think that is fascinating about it? I feel like there is something to be said about the push-pull dynamic of sexual chemistry or sexual desire in general. So because you're kind of pulling away from me, my push towards you is higher.
Oh,
because a lot of people that I know, and then I got a DM yesterday from somebody who was like, can you please talk about a loss of sex drive and a loss of desire to have sex with your partner? And I was like, I just do not have that experience at all.
Yeah.
But I wonder if it's because you do have that experience that my desire for you is stronger.
Yeah, I go back to like, there only could be one crazy person in the room. So like, if one person is like panic, like, oh my God, your natural tendency is to be calm, collective, and be assertive. So I think in this situation, because I'm not like jumping on you every second, your body knows that you need it. So it's just like your brain is telling you to be attracted to me.
Well,
Not gonna lie, and I think the only reason why it would be tough for me is because you're pregnant. And even like you saying, what's happening? And so I just think honesty is always going to make us closer, regardless if it's hurtful.
Would you have been comfortable with me coming to you and saying, you're not interested, but I am interested, so what's up? What can I do?
It would be tough for me. I'm not gonna lie, and I think the only reason why it would be tough for me is because you're pregnant. And even like you saying go and have another partner right now, it would be tough for me to go and do that because you're pregnant. And it might be society, right? It might be society putting that on me. Because I remember when you said, hey, I think it's time for you to find a little friends with benefits right now. My instant reaction was like, I just would feel off.
Do you know what I did ask you for?
What?
I said, because not only did I get, a bigger belly, I got huge breasts. And I felt like you were not sexually in tune with my breasts at that time. So I was like, can I send a picture of my breasts to somebody who I know is going to appreciate how hot they are?
Yeah.
And you were like, I would prefer you didn't.
But I also said, if you need to, do it.
Yeah.
That's the part of the conversation. I'm just also telling, my truth on it.
I did. I said, because not only did I get, a bigger belly, I got huge breasts. And I felt like you were not sexually in tune with my breasts at that time. So I was like, can I send a picture of my breasts to somebody who I know is going to appreciate how hot they are?
Yeah.
And you were like,
but I also said, if you need to, do it.
yeah,
That's the part of the conversation. I'm just also telling, my truth on it.
I did.
Yeah, I know you did.
You didn't know that.
Yes, I did.
Who did I say to?
I don't know, but I know you did.
I blurred out the nipples though. It's not. I put an emoji over the nipples.
It's almost worse. It's almost worse. I'm tell you that. My men's imagine.
That?
Yes, I did.
Who did I say it to?
I don't know, but I know you did.
I blurred out the nipples though.
Still the same.
It's not. I put an emoji over the nipples.
It's almost worse. It's almost worse. I'm tell you that. My men's.
Hey guys, welcome to Little Black Button 91. Listen, I just wanted to play all the videos I had for you, and I'll do more. Okay, I'll do some more, and I'll play some videos. But I want to say this: they said they had an open relationship. Okay, they said they had an open relationship, but this behavior was betrayal. See, this is what I'm trying to say to you. Open relationship don't mean nothing, right? Because so long as you're in a relationship, people are gonna be bastards. This is what gonna be true, okay? But can I be real with you? I think there's more to the situation. When I watched some of her videos with her parents, she's very open about sex with her parents. And I said, it's really interesting because most parents are not really that open to talk about sex. Like, it's a really, really open place. Like, it's too open, right? To talk about sex with your parents that particular way, right? And so I need to do a bit more information digging in that space. But what I have found out from kind of watching their videos is I do believe that they actually have a good relationship, but I do also believe that there are behaviors that are not going to help have a healthy relationship. I don't know if this is my personal opinion. I don't know how they're being very honest, but I feel like Shan, Boody, okay? I feel like Shan, Boody is not really being honest, because this behavior here is what I'm not saying being honest. I want to say I think Shan, Boody is a little bit scared of the monogamy in a space where someone else has the power to dictate to you. And I think that in a sense of because he's younger, also, and just the way that a lot of their conversations seem to flow with either she's scolding him or telling him off for certain types of behaviors. And I'll produce some clips for you. I'm not saying that they're the worst couple ever. No. I'm just saying that, when you see certain things, and that video that we saw quite recently was also August, the very first one I talked about in part 1 and 2, and now in part 3, that video in August where we are seeing his body language shift. Notice his body language in all these videos are very different compared to what we saw the latest video. It looks like he's off. Something's not quite right. So just going back through the videos and just playing all the videos, it's making me ask the question, what is actually happening? So I'm going to play this last clip again. Okay? All right? I'm going to play this last clip again. And I want you to listen very carefully to actually what happened, because this was actually a violation. She violated the relationship. Okay, she actually violated the relationship. So open relationship or not, she violated, because let's listen to what actually happened.
On a little friends of benefits right now. My instant reaction was like, I just would feel off.
Do you know what I did ask you for?
What?
I said,
Sorry, let me go
When
back.
we first started, hey, I don't want to really have sex, and then I don't feel that, and I never took it on personally. I think
Where did she say it? Let me find this clip for you. I want to find a clip because she actually starts saying that she doesn't mind. Okay, friends of benefit. Okay, fantastic. Here we go. She wants to talk about friends of benefits. Let's just talk about this. Okay, cool.
So I just think honesty is always going to make us closer, regardless if it's hurtful.
would you have been comfortable with me coming to you and saying, you're not interested,
Yeah.
but I am interested. So what's up? What can I do?
It would be tough for me. I'm not gonna lie, and I think the only reason why it would be tough for you, for me, is because you're pregnant. And even like you saying go and have another partner right now, it would be tough for me to go and do that because you're pregnant. And it might be society, right? It might be society putting that on me. Because I remember when you said, hey, I think it's time for you to find a little friends of benefits right now. My instant reaction was like, I just would feel off.
Do you know what I did ask you for?
What?
I said, because not only did I get, a bigger belly, I got huge breasts. And I felt like you were not sexually in tune with my breasts at that time. So I was like, can I send a picture of my breasts to somebody who I know is going to appreciate how hot they are?
Yeah.
And you were like, I would prefer you didn't.
But I also said, if you need to, do it.
Yeah.
That's the part of the conversation. I'm just also telling, my truth on it.
I did.
Yeah, I know you did.
You didn't know that.
Yes, I did.
Who did I say it to?
I don't know, but I know you did.
I blurred out the nipples though.
Still the same.
It's not. I put an emoji over the nipples.
It's almost worse. It's almost worse. I'm gonna tell you that. Men's imagination is strong. Because now we get to put the nipple that they on it.
You don't think my nipple is someone's dream nipple?
I'm sure it is, but now it for sure is with the thing covering it.
Okay. It was a frog, if that helps.
No, it doesn't help. How would you feel if I sent a dick pic?
I think, again, if we had that conversation about it and kind of knowing what I know now, and if it made you feel kind of happier and more connected at this present time, again, like I said, I genuinely think that you've never been sexier than you are right now. And I can express that to you verbally, but I can't show you that appreciation through sexual lust. And if you require that for your happiness and for your wellness, I'm not going to stand in the way of that.
Now let's pause it right here, because that was some bullcrap, okay? That is some madness in the sky of heavens of madness, okay? Now, why is it mad? Because first and foremost, I don't agree with open relationship, but since you're doing open relationship, I'm with it, okay? Because it's what you like, I'ma love it. But we have to be very honest about some of the behaviors that we just exhibited here. Remember, if we go back to that video a couple of years, the video that we discussed a couple of days ago, yesterday, sorry, and we talked about how she said that she doesn't love herself the way that she loves Jarrett, and we said this will be a problem, okay? The way that she says she so loves him and she can never be without him almost, right? Okay, and a lot of this aspect, we said if you're not loving yourself, it's going to be very difficult when you are in the relationship to love the other party the way you need to love them. So in this particular situation, this is about a year ago, I think. It was a year ago, this video. And this particular situation, right? You asked him, can I send a photo to somebody, right, who would appreciate my breasts because you feel like you're not sexy. I want you to look at what's happening here. Okay? I want you to look what's happening here. You said that you don't feel sexy. He hasn't told you that, but you feel less sexy because he's not trying to have sex with you whilst you're pregnant. Cool? But then he says, I wouldn't be very cool with it if I'm honest with you. But you know what? Do what you want to do. Now, first and foremost, I'm never going to say do what you're going to do again. I learned my lesson a couple of years ago. Don't ever say do what you're going to do because they're going to do what they're going to do. Then you're going to be pissed off that you said go and do what you're going to do and they did what they're going to do and now you vex. Just say you don't want it. So in that moment, when he said that, she ended up sending the picture of her breast to someone else anyway. So now she sent it because what was it again? Because she wanted to feel sexy. Not because they're in an open relationship, because she needed validation. So she went outside of the relationship that they've built to go and get the validation. It doesn't matter whether you're in an open relationship or not. You've gone outside of your relationship to go and retrieve validation. And your partner already expressed they weren't really cool with it. And on top of that, you actually didn't tell the person, but now we're doing it on a video, live on the video, and you didn't know that. And then listen to what she's like, you didn't know that, but listen. Let's play it again.
You don't think my nipple is someone's dream nipple?
I'm sure it is. But I said, if you need to, do it.
Yeah.
You know, that's the part of the conversation. I'm just also telling, you know, my truth on it.
I did.
Yeah, I know you did.
You didn't know that.
Yes, I did.
Who did I say it to?
I don't know, but I know you did.
I blurred out the nipples, though.
Still the same.
Now, why didn't she tell him that she sent it? Why didn't she tell him she sent it? She's like, this is deceitful behavior, okay, all right, which somebody would actually class as cheating. Okay, all right, somebody would class as aspect of cheating. You have sent a sexual organ. Well, I mean, your breast shouldn't be really part of that. You know what I'm saying to you? Breast is a beautiful thing that the Lord has put on a woman to be able to, you know, nurture a child, and for obviously the men who need to be, you know, enjoying. But you send that to somebody else. Okay, you send it to somebody else to get valid. Like, I just need you to deep what actually is happening here. This is a very deep psychological thing. You are willing to send that to somebody else to be able, right, to be able to get validation. And then, cheekily, you then said, I wouldn't mind if you got a friends with benefit person. Why? Because your ass is already cheating. Nah, come on. Okay, I shouldn't say that. I don't want to say that. But no, it's cheating. I mean, in a sense, it's cheating because you lied about the situation and sent something to the other party, right? Whether you want to call it micro cheating, whatever you want to call it, right? You then said you wanted to. He can go and get a friends with benefit because when you are cheating yourself, you don't mind if a person's trying to cheat because your guilty conscience will always get you. I'm not trying to downplay the relationship. I'm not saying it should end the relationship. I'm just saying that something is not quite right here, right? Something is not quite right in the milk because she said you can go while she was pregnant, by the way, because she couldn't fulfill his desires. She said you can go and get an F buddy, you know, because I can't supply your needs right now.
A better excuse than I did. But, you know, I think the conversations are always good to have because there's no connection without true honesty. And if I'm lying to you or you're lying to me, then we're always just going to feel like there's something off with our relationship. You know, imagine if you never told me when we first started, hey, I don't want to have sex. And then we're going days and days. And I'm like, what's going on? Is it me? What's happening? And so I just think honesty is always going to make us closer, regardless if it's hurtful.
Would you have been comfortable with me coming to you and saying, you're not interested, but I am interested. So what's up? What can I do?
It would be tough for me. I'm not gonna lie. And I think the only reason why it would be tough for me is because you're pregnant. And even like you saying go and have another partner right now, it would be tough for me to go and do that because you're pregnant. And it might be society, right? It might be society putting that on me. Because I remember when you said, hey, I think it's time for you to find a little friends with benefits right now. My instant reaction was like, I just would feel off.
Do you know what I did ask you for?
What?
See, that's why he says manipulative. Okay, that's why this is given given fearful avoidant. I can't lie to you. They like that testing behavior. It's given fearful avoidant where they like to test the boundaries to prove that you love them and you care about them. And so it's like it's given that kind of energy. And so in that space, listen to what she did. She had already sent a photo. And you know, and then you're talking about then also at the same time he should go and get a friends with benefit. Now we need to go to the very beginning of this particular video because I want to go back, you know, because I think there's a lot more to discuss. Okay, all right, there's a lot more to discuss. Let's listen to this.
Experiencing that, and then to be like, well, it's not on you. I think it's more of a protection base for the partner rather than just being completely honest of like, hey, yes, I'm having a low sex drive, but you're contributing to that as well.
I'm having very low sex drive right now.
Yeah.
And I promise you, it has nothing to do with you.
And
you're trying to defend yourself from last year's public dragging.
No, I'm trying to humanize it is what I'm trying to do. And that's the point of this podcast is humanizing the ugly truths about relationships. And so, you know, if I got to go down in the fire and I got to stand on that, I just really want this opinion to be out there regardless if it's liked or not. That's more so where my stance is. And I guess my question is that okay? Or is that a problem?
No, I think it's okay if it is your truth. I think it was really helpful, although ego check for me at the time, because like I had mentioned this to you the other day, that I think I now realize that Ryu is a year and 3 months old. So So through this experience and going through pregnancy again, what I realized is how many insecurities I carried with me throughout the concept of having a kid. The thought of how it was going to change me, the thought of how it was going to change us, how it was going to change my body when I was actually in it. What did it mean when we were going through all these rapid changes in a short amount of time? Is this going to be forever? When I came out of it, will you ever see me the same? Do you ever looking like a mom only? So I was always leading with like a neediness to be affirmed. And I feel like now that I have the perspective of looking back, I was like, nothing needed to be in flux. Nothing was stressful. Everything was during the time that it was. We managed and got our way through it. And if I spent less time stressing out and needing affirmation and more time just leaning into my truth at the time, I would have had.
There we go. If I spent less time needing affirmation, and that's the reality of the situation. Shan is insatiable, my guy. It's got nothing to do with sex. Can I be honest with you? There is something that listen, whenever you see these kind of things, me personally, this is my personal opinion. Again, I want to make it very clear. It's my personal opinion, okay? My personal opinion. There's something not quite right here. Here's why. Because this need for validation outside of this particular relationship doesn't make sense. It means there's something that's happened in the past relationships or in childhood that is leading to an insatiable hunger that she wants to feel validated outside of Jared. After she told us she would die without him, after she told him that he's the most sexiest man alive, and by the way, she's very consistent with how sexy she thinks he is. She's not lying about how sexy she thinks he is. Something's not quite right. So this constant need of validation is pulling her in different directions and different behaviors that are unbefitting of this relationship. Now, she's not the only one I'm blaming, by the way. His passivity is also a problem. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Like, he's got a lot of passive behaviors. Let's not like make it only Shan. And I'm saying it's contributing towards a perfect storm of you finally reaching a particular point and this relationship breaks and we're like, why did it break? Well, because certain behaviors that we exhibiting right now that are not beneficial to the relationship. Now, this was a year ago, by the way, again. Okay? All right? A year ago. But this is very much given, like I said, this is very much given the fearful, avoidant energy where they are, because they both want the love and at the same time fear it. I can see what happened. I can see why this was an open relationship at first and became monogamous at the end. Okay? I can see why the relationship started off as an open relationship and then became monogamous. Because being an avoidant, one of the hardest things for avoidance is that when they get into relationships, their biggest fear is being rejected, betrayed, or abandoned. So what ends up happening is they don't want to say from the jump, I want you. What they want to do is they want to sit like the frog in a pan of milk and let the pan slowly warm up and let them get cooked. That's avoidance. Yeah, avoidance like to do this whole thing where they like to slowly stew in something. So they'll sit in something and they will do everything boyfriend or girlfriend behavior with you. They'll do everything wife or hubby behavior with you, but they'll never put a label on it. And then it takes them about 6 or 7 months, and then so then you have to ask them, what are we? Oh, you knew you're my boyfriend already. How many ladies have had that experience? If you had that experience with a man, type it in the chat, where you're doing everything boyfriend or girlfriend, and they're not saying nothing. Nothing. Okay? Nothing at all. And then suddenly they're like, you ask them, what are we? Oh, you know you're my girl. Why? Because they're avoidance. They don't like to deal with that whole aspect of actually being vulnerable and saying what it actually is. It's like they want to walk, it's like they just want to literally be there and be like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, now we're in it deep. And it's because, again, it takes vulnerability to be able to say, I actually want you, and here's what I want for us to go forward. It's easier to be like, let's just get along and see what happens. If we get there, we get there. Right? So a lot of times avoidance do that in a relationship. So it's no wonder they started off as an open relationship and then became monogamous. Because in reality, when it's open, there are rules. Of course there are, but there is no exclusivity because you can be open with multiple people. You know what I'm saying to you? So I feel like there's a little bit of that aspect going on here. I feel like there's an aspect going on here. Because again, she didn't come from an open-ended parents. Unless I got it wrong and maybe I misheard the parents. I think the parents are very open, but she never saw an openly monogamous, an open relationship. So where does that idea come from? where does the idea of you wanting to come outside of the pattern of your parents come from? No, it could be a genuine thought process. You might generally be one of the odd people in the world who are just, they didn't follow the pattern of their parents. But most of us follow the pattern. So something has happened that's created that, I would call it a fear as well too, Atala, that's caused that thought process to be like, I want to be open. Okay.
Had a better experience. So I think this time around, that's really what I'm trying to do, is just accept every phase that I'm at, where we're at, have a dialogue about
different story this time around. I already noticed in myself, because I don't know if you remember, but the first time that we had sex when you found out you were pregnant was around the time that you're pregnant now, and I couldn't get up.
Yes.
So the thought of a human being inside of you was affecting me that early on. It's not anymore, and it was my first time ever experiencing that. And I didn't feel like there was grace around that. I felt, not for me per se, but the audience doesn't know that, right? And I feel like there was a lot of men who did understand what I was going through, but then there was a lot of women who were like, she is carrying your child. You're supposed to do this no matter what.
Can I just give quick context? Because I think people might not understand what we're saying. What we're saying is that there's a clip that we put out last year that Jared put on TikTok that ended up going viral. And the comment section of that clip was really negative towards Jared about expressing his lack of desire to have sex with his pregnant wife. And there wasn't a lot of empathy or curiosity. And as a result of that, this topic is still sensitive to you.
Not necessarily sensitive. I think that it's more or less of a situation where I want this to be a growing experience for both parties, right? Like, man, but this is gonna hurt, and I hope I can just fix this myself without involving her, and she doesn't notice. But then it goes on for so long that it's impossible for you not to notice, and then you go into your own head. So it's just always the best policy to just bring it up and deal with the consequences as they come.
Well, in the spirit of that, we've been probably less sexual than we've been in our entire relationship.
Yeah.
Maybe, I can't remember the first trimester last time. I know it was similar. I don't know if it was like as, for me.
It was.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's the same?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess this is your second go around of being in a dry ass relationship. What are you feeling? How's it been for you?
You know what? I understand more than I did last time. I understand more in the sense of like, you're going through a lot of changes, and it's just enough. It's a lot of energy for you to get out of bed. And so it's possible for you not to notice. And then you go into your own head. So it's just always the best policy to just bring it up and deal with the consequences as they come.
Well, in the spirit of that, we've been probably less sexual than we've been in our entire relationship.
Yeah.
Maybe, I can't remember the first trimester last time. I know it was similar. I don't know if it was like as, for me.
It was.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's the same?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess this is your second go around of being in a dry ass relationship. What are you feeling? How's it been for you?
You know what? I understand more than I did last time. I understand more in the sense of like, you're going through a lot of changes, and it's just enough. It's a lot of energy for you to get out of bed. And so I trying to really see it from the lens of you rather than the lens of me. And the way that I see it is just kind of like, you're literally creating a life right now.
So there's obviously a lot of suffering, which I understand around the child and her being pregnant at the time as well. That probably has affected a lot of the issues within the relationship as well. So that makes a lot of sense. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I think there's some aspects I want to just be able to go back into this part aspect, because this clip is what they're talking about also.
Or my partner. It doesn't do any of that. I can't speak for you, you know what I mean? I know this is probably an important area, and it probably has affected the way you look at me, but it hasn't done that for me.
It hasn't affected me at all. I think actually the opposite. I think I have more like damn moments with you.
Really?
Yes, like sometimes when you get out of bed in the morning and I look at your body, or sometimes like even in the car, I'll look at your hands and what they're doing. Like I just get turned on by you all the time now.
It's the pregnancy. It's the more blood flow.
No, I don't know. You know what I actually think that is fascinating about it? I feel like there is something to be said about the push-pull dynamic of sexual chemistry or sexual desire in general. So because you're kind of pulling away from me, my push towards you is higher.
Oh,
because a lot of people that I know, you know, and I got a DM yesterday from somebody who was like, can you please talk about a loss of sex drive and a loss of desire to have sex with your partner? And I was like, I just do not have that experience at all.
Yeah.
But I wonder if it's because you do have that experience that my desire for you is stronger.
Yeah, I go back to like, there only could be one. I usually am used to having a desire for it before the act. You know, I'm used to like 30 minutes thinking to myself like, oh, I'm gonna have sex today, and getting into it that way. For me, like, it's like, oh snap, we have to have sex. You know what I mean? It's not like that sexy buildup that I'm used to. But once it gets going, I'm not like mad about it. I'm not like angry about it, but it's just not like a thing that I'm thinking about before bed like I used to. The thing that throws me off is when the baby will kick or do something, because then it reminds me that for instance, the other day we were in the shower, I was getting into it, and then you were like, look, she's moving, she's in the shower with us. And it's just like, you just take me out. You just take me out. Like, I'm out at that point. I'm not into it. This is weird. So yeah, but that's the type of things I think I will struggle during those 6 weeks though, knowing that we can't have sex.
Yeah.
After you give him birth.
Struggle in a good way, like tension?
Well, I'm gonna be using Tango, so I'm gonna be masturbating. So.
Well, you're masturbating right now, you told me.
Yeah, but not like the way I'm going to be vigorously masturbating when you're 6 weeks postpartum.
Why do you think so?
There's a difference when you're like, you can't do this.
Yeah.
Then you have an option to do this.
It's fascinating because I fantasize about postpartum sex a lot. I think about just being able, like to your point, like I am so excited to be the sexual partner to myself and to you that I used to be. Like I'm excited to get into moves and to move quick.
Something's not quite right. Something's not quite right here. Okay? We are back in that space again where he's saying once more again, he ain't want it, but she want it. We're back in that space again. If you watch my clip from the part 1 and part 2, I spoke about this, but the dynamic of this relationship seems to be, and you know what? It's not just her. There is something else happening with him. So she is seemingly turned on by him. Like she wants to do some things. Now there's moments where she doesn't want to, because she mentioned in another video that she wasn't on that situation. Okay. But there is this moment here where again he says, listen, I'm thinking about the relationship, you know, you're pregnant or postpartum, I'm not really sure about that. And she's like, listen, I can't wait to get onto you postpartum. I cannot wait. And again, it feels like he's hesitant again once more. Now, if I was to look at it based on some information that I saw in another video when they were discussing his upbringing, that he's been very independent since, you know, even before 18, he's been very independent due to his family upbringing and structure. Potentially, if he's always pulling away and she's always grasping onto him, he's potentially a dismissive, avoidant person, right? Is giving dismissive, avoidant energy. And let me play a little bit of the clip so we can come back to this. We'll come back to this now. I'll show you what I'm talking about so you actually understand where I'm coming from. Because this part obviously was like, I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is also a part of the situation. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. Okay. Here we go.
You know, I just want to apologize for that. For one, I did the hard lifting with Ryu. I want to do that right now and give her a break because she had to carry this baby. She had to do all of these things. So in my mind, I was like, if I'm up, I'm going to try to take care of everything so that she can relax. And I was kind of hurt to know that my mind or my decision to be helpful was actually hurtful. So when you told me, my reaction was anger. You know, I just want to apologize for that. For one, I don't envision, my whole goal is to make this as smooth and as loving as possible, never to be a hindrance or my actions to be added weight to whatever you're going through.
No, thank you. And I obviously owe you an apology because the way that I had brought that up. But in moments of like stress, when I'm feeling hurt, my mind goes to like, I don't need you. And so I think that my the energy that I give when I'm like coming to you with these problems is that energy.
Yeah.
It's not.
See, that energy that she's talking about is exactly what happens 2 years later, right? That would be the fearful avoidance kind of lash out, angry lash out. When they're starting to feel scared and they're feeling afraid, right? They start doing what I call the lash out. And the lash out is you're going to get 1,000 tongues. They're going to tell you how they feel and they're going to come out, pop, 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 right? So the very thing, that same thing that she did, we see 2 years later in that video, you know, that video where she spoke about, you know, the recording and she got onto him, right? Now, if he's a dismissive avoidant, criticism like that is not going to work. When the FA loses it and has that lash out moment, the dismissive avoidant is very sensitive to critique, right? So if you've got a dismissive avoidant and a fearful avoidant in a relationship, right, the dismissive avoidant is very sensitive to critique. The fearful avoidant is also sensitive, but will do the work to make sure they're not in that position again. It's very interesting to see how dismissive avoidance and fearful avoidance react. Fearful avoidance are very different. You tell them something very tough, they take it to heart, they get hurt, but they will make sure that they're going to do whatever they can do so that next time it don't happen again. They don't like that aspect. But you do that to a dismissive avoidant, they're now thinking, am I not a good person? Okay, fine. I'm not going to help you again. I'm going to separate myself now. I'm going to avoid you now. And I'm going to create distance because I feel rejected in this moment. And so the difference between the fearful avoidant and the dismissive is, I think, was playing here. So when she goes into that lash out mode, it does damage. The DA is feeling it all the time. Now, this is not to say who's right and who's wrong. This is just simply the relationship. But the fact that she said, basically, I don't need your ass. The fact that she said, I don't need you. Right? That she said, I don't need you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need what you bring into the table. I can do it without you. Right? She's letting him know, listen, but what will happen is if he does go away, she's going to put him back in. Which makes more sense now to why she was saying about, yeah, go and find an F-buddy. Right? But then, did she really mean it? Pregnant? You wanted to go and find an F-buddy? Really? Because you can't suffice it? You were testing him, which is why he called you out for manipulation. Now it makes sense. Oh, I'll do a proper breakdown another day. Now it makes sense why he called her out for manipulation, because he's seen his behavior before. Right? So it was manipulation because she was testing the boundary and testing him, see what reaction is. But in the midst of that, she also had her indiscretion by sending the breast to somebody else because she needed a validation. Because again, when it comes to fearful avoidance, a lot of the underneath current is that they feel they're bad people, they don't feel they're good enough, and they don't feel they're lovable. They feel that they're bad people, they don't feel they're good enough, and they feel that they are unlovable. Right? So what ends up happening, the fear of a fearful avoidant is that rejection, betrayal, and abandonment. But like I always say, you will see it because the reason why people abandon you is because you abandon yourself. The reason why people end up rejecting you is because you reject yourself. And so people don't know how to react to you when you are doing those things to you yourself. But let's just listen.
It's not an energy of like, hey, I'm hurt, or hey, I feel left out, or hey, like, can we work together?
Yeah.
My energy is very like, you're fucking up.
Yeah.
You're about to lose something incredible.
Yeah.
And I said to you in that argument, I'm like, I'd really make sure you choose the next out of your mouth wisely.
I hate when you do those threats in arguments. It's like,
Did you hear what he just said? No, did you hear it? Did you hear what he just said? Now listen to what just got said. That was really important. That last bit was really important. Okay, it's really, really important.
I'm like, I'd really make sure you choose the next out of your mouth wisely.
I hate when you do those threats in arguments. It's like,
you see what he said? I hate when you do those threats in an argument. Now he's laughing, but it's not funny because it's real, right? Because she actually is threatening him. She's letting him know, you keep playing around. I'm telling you now. And she's made good on that threat, my guy, because she sent breast to somebody else. She's made good on that threat because she sent it to somebody else. I'm telling you. Shan needs to do just a little bit of healing. I need you to come and do some healing. Quick. Okay? And I need him to do some healing because your apathy, and this is another thing as well, I think, right? Dismissive avoidance sex drive will start to go down when they start feeling like they're being critiqued because they're very sensitive. A dismissive avoidant, a lot of times, sex drive will reduce, or their sex drive towards your ass, because that's what he said. He didn't say his sex drive has gone down. He said his sex drive towards her ass has gone down. Yeah. That's what he said. He said his sex drive towards her has gone down, right? So it's not that his sex drive has gone down. No. My sex drive towards you has gone down. Do you know what I'm saying to you? Okay? So it's interesting to see how this is now playing out. This is also true. They do hold out. You're absolutely right. DAs will hold out in sex. Absolutely. Intentionally to control. Absolutely. They will distance themselves by using sex as a distancer, which is why she's chasing him for sex now. Because that's what he's doing. He's withholding. Remember we said that earlier on. We said, why is work in the way? We said that what doesn't make no sense. He's now withholding. He's now withholding. Right? And so it's causing this reaction in the relationship. Now, if we go back, she gave a breakdown of his background, which I think is really important.
We weren't getting along. Ryu was waking up every couple hours. So we were all sleep deprived. And you said to me, you're not making any space. You want to do this parenting thing how you want to do it.
Yeah.
And I was so caught off guard because in my mind, the style of parenting that I always envisioned for us was us to do it together. So the thought of me pushing you out and not giving you room to be involved with Ryu is the same as I am being involved with Ryu, kind of hurt me.
Interestingly enough, the Esther Perel thing I just watched was like, that's exactly what I think I was saying to you, but not knowing how to say.
Yeah.
And it always goes back to understanding somebody outside of like your connection.
Yeah.
So she was saying, you know, there's like two types of societies. There's independent societies and there's codependent societies or interdependent. So that means that people work together. And so interdependence would be societies that are more community-based, but America is a very independent society. Like your dreams, your success, your this. And so some people grew up in families that were interdependent and some people grew up in families that were independent. And when I think about you were by yourself by 18 years old.
Yeah.
You're not an only child. You have other siblings, but more or less, you've always been like the outside son.
Yeah.
Because both of your parents got remarried and had children with the person they were married to.
Yeah.
You've always relied heavily on yourself.
Yeah.
Jared went through a period of time where you were homeless.
Yeah.
You went through a period of time where you essentially were estranged from your family for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
My experience is the total opposite.
Yeah.
Now, that's really important.
I come from a very tight-knit family. I come from a family where I always know I can rely on them.
Yeah.
And if push comes to shove or I'm in financial trouble, like I was asking you that, like when you were homeless, why didn't you go live with this person? Why didn't you reach with that person? You're like, that wasn't even an option in my mind.
Yeah.
And so I think sometimes your mindset goes to like, I can do this. I want to do this. I'm doing this by myself.
Now, Jarrett's background is really interesting, right? It's really powerful because Jarrett's background here in this situation, okay, is precisely why I said it's got that dismissive feeling to it, because where the way he grew up is giving very much that aspect where where he has grown up very independently. He was an outside child, so he's looking for acceptance, acknowledgement, appreciation. Those three words: acceptance, acknowledgement, appreciation. He's looking for that. And so in that space where he was alienated from his family, the odd one out almost, had to grow up by himself, almost had to be on his own till he was 18, be homeless. He's got resolve in him, but he's also got a very strong independent spirit. And so when that ends up happening is, how good is he at actually being able to be in tune with his emotions? Right? Now, with FAs, they don't like to be betrayed, abandoned, or rejected. With dismissives, they don't like to be rejected. So you got a perfect storm. Right? Perfect storm. You got a perfect storm that's going on, in that space. And I think there's a lot that go into it. I want to be able to find a clip for you guys in a space where he spoke about. Okay, I think I've got it. Here it is. I think it's at the very beginning of this video clip.
The things that I relate to her about not being in the space of wanting to have sex, it got taken as an insult. Not from you, but from the audience. I mean, maybe you did take it as an insult, I don't know. Yeah.
But she did make a key differentiation between what she's experiencing and what you talked about. So what she's experiencing is not, to make it plain English, are you experiencing low sex drive, or is your drive to have sex with your partner low? She's experiencing low sex drive that has nothing to do with her drive to have sex with her partner. When you related to her, you were experiencing the same sex drive, but less of a drive to have sex with me because I was in the third trimester of pregnancy.
Yeah.
Pause. Now, of course, the third trimester is a real thing. The man them do feel like the drive goes down. But we're no longer in third trimester as to why we are later on in the videos after, where they're speaking in the thingy, why this is happening. So, and in this situation, it was, he still has a high sex drive, but his sex drive for her is lower. Now, it's because she's in the third trimester. I think that's starting to become a bit of an excuse. I'm not saying that this is not real. Man, them do feel some type of way when their wives are in third trimester. It's a real thing. I researched it. I looked on the internet. It's a real thing. But I think when we took out all the information in, right, when you take all the information in, he specifically is losing his sex drive for her. And that usually is because there's too much criticism. There's too much honesty about the sex game. There's too much behaviors that are very painful emotionally. And so what ends up happening, the dismissive person will end up drifting from the relationship whilst not saying anything. I'm busy. I'm tired. We've got too much work to do. The kids are over there. A whole bunch of excuses that start to come out. Okay, I think it's on both. Like I said, it's on both sides that I'm seeing this particular behavior where I'm like, ugh, there's a lot that needs to be discussed, as well within that space. Let's go back to my video aspect 2. I want to go back to a video.
It's a hard thing because I was actually having this conversation when I was talking about having a partner who's supportive in my career. What makes it so easy for us to facilitate this dynamic is that you're so honest with me. You're so honest about your vulnerabilities. And even like in times when you're feeling low, you are incredibly honest. Like you're not one of those people you have to guess what's really wrong with them. Like they're acting out, but like, oh, you gotta kind of think back to what could be bothering them. So the fact that you do tell me things like that are hurtful to me is helpful. So like, I don't want to discourage it because I'm like, I don't ever want you to scale back and lie to me for my benefit. But yeah, like it does hurt.
I'm sorry.
Don't feel sorry.
There is probably a lot of men who can relate to me. There's probably a lot of people or women who could relate to you. So I always feel an extra need to just kind of say what we're going through during the times. I think it could help people, or not take it, or like maybe somebody, let's say the roles are reversed, right? And your sex drive dropped. How would you want me to react to you?
I would want you to react kind of the same way that you're reacting to me. And this is something that we have prioritized in a relationship the whole time, where it's like we look at it like a part of our duty to each other.
Yeah.
So I know that you don't want to, but you do anyways. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate that you don't, like, to your point, you do make an effort to get into it.
Yeah.
You're just never the person who's like you're never that. Which hurts a little bit, but I think that if I do that to you, you do respond back. And like this is classic. This is a classic conversation between me and Jared. Like I'll be like,
"Oh, are you tired?
Yeah, I'm a little tired.
Do you want to have sex?
Do you?
Why would I pitch it unless I wanted to do it? Like why would I bring it up? And like that "do you" lets me know like do you? But if I say yes, then you'll go along with it. So I would.
So I think both of them are feeling some type of rejection here. What she described is what I said last time, which is when she just said here, look, if I pitch sex to you, I want sex. You asking me, are you sure you want to have sex? Is telling me that it's making me feel like you don't want sex. And in turn, when you start feeling that way, I start feeling like maybe you don't want it. And I start feeling rejected. And in feeling rejected, then I don't want to really necessarily do it. Now you feel rejected because now I'm rejecting you. So now it's this cycle that happens. You know what I'm saying, Chu? So her not feeling then desired now also doesn't make her want to have sex. But it's like, it's a cyclical thing that keeps happening between the two of them, right? So they are almost kind of like sabotaging each other out, the game. And I understand because at the moment, he doesn't want to look like he's doing too much. And I realize, sometimes I do this as well. I realize you don't want to do too much. But the reality is, I want it. Hey, I want it. Can't lie to you. I really want sex right now. And let's go. If you're on it, you're on it. But again, he doesn't want to feel like, I guess he doesn't also want to feel like he's taking advantage. I get it too. I also get that too. Okay, I also understand that too as well. I really get that.
I would actually take a page out of your book. Yeah. Because we're both very sexual people and sex is a big part of not just our relationship health, but our individual health. Do you feel like you've taken a hit in any regards in terms of wellness in the past 9 months?
I mean, yes, I think so, because with good sex comes with great confidence. So when you're having like mediocre or subpar sex, my confidence gets hit a little bit because I know it's not that enjoyable for you either. You know what I mean? I know that we're doing something that's designed to help the baby to come. So the focus is not on us or our pleasure. The focus is on we're trying to do this so that the baby can come.
So this is what he's actually really saying here. He's saying, listen, I'm all down for the sex, but the reality of the situation is we're only having sex because we need the baby to come, right? It's like, you know what I mean? Saying like, that's what he's saying. He said like, so it's not, so again, remember I told you earlier on, I said, what meaning is he applying to sex? Because what he's really saying is, it doesn't feel like you want to have sex. The applied meaning is, it's like we're just having sex obligatory and I don't feel desired in this moment. I don't feel wanted either. So it's like, we're just doing it. It doesn't feel good at that point in time. I want to feel desired. And I do actually understand that. The funny thing is, whilst I was in Egypt, I was searching for that feeling, that desire. It changes sex, man. I can't lie to you. But we need to have a discussion about it. We need to have a discussion about it. But I really do understand that at that point, then it becomes obligatory. And one thing that dismissives do not like doing is obligatory stuff. Oh, no. Listen, dismissives and obligations, don't obligate a dismissive person. You're going to find out today. And so I can see how now maybe we need to change the meaning behind the obligatory sex. That, listen, it is also for pleasure. It's not just about the kid. You know what I'm saying to you? But the conversation seems to have shifted to a place where the sex is just for obligation of the child coming through the canal. That's it. Okay? So I definitely understand where he's also coming from. But we then need to have that conversation so that we're not feeling rejected in this moment. Because why can't you enjoy the sex as well as also getting the baby to come out? And then, I know he says uncomfortable, baby, bro, but she's coming to you saying she want it. That's what she's also telling him. So they are both in a space where they want each other. I think there's just that miscommunication because both of them are psyching out each other because they're trying to read and project what the other person's really thinking. So neither of them are actually taking what the other person's saying as their word. And I've been here before, so I know what it looks like. I've seen it. And I think both of them are kind of doing this thing where they project what the other person's thinking. For instance, when she's, so when she's saying, I'm coming to you, I want sex, he's like thinking to himself, does she really want sex? Or she just obligating, or she just wants to make me satisfy me. And when he then goes, I don't really want sex, she might be thinking, oh, well, he doesn't want me. And really and truly what he's doing is because he doesn't want to feel like he's overusing her body or whatever. And they're just psyching each other out. They're psyching each other out. That's all. They're psyching each other out. That's it.
So I think I do get a little bit of an ego or a confidence hit when we do it, for sure. Because I've noticed in myself that I get so much confidence from great sex.
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
I think not only have I learned that I get a lot of confidence from sex, from you and I, and just like seeing that look in your eyes, or just knowing that's something that you want to do, but even being out in public, I'm so used to people looking at me like a woman, and now they look at me like a pregnant woman.
Yeah.
Like even this, like I have these gigantic boobs. Nobody's appreciating them. If people are staring at me, they're staring at my stomach. Like even yesterday we were out in the street and somebody yelled something. I knew.
Here we go again, sis. Shan Boody talking about how she giving an Aisha Curry energy right now. They ain't looking at me like a woman, they're looking at me like a pregnant woman. You pregnant! Baby, you pregnant! You are pregnant and you are glowing, my girl. Okay, you are pregnant and you are glowing, my girl. You need not, but she's asking for that Aisha Curry situation where it's like, I'm not getting no attention for people outside. I wanna feel sexy. And that, again, is an internal function. It's got nothing. He cannot solve that issue. He cannot solve that issue. She needs to solve that within herself. This is why I said that there are deeper underlying issues. Okay?
I knew it wasn't a sexual comment. I knew it was a pregnant comment.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me listen to what you just said.
Like even yesterday we were out in the street and somebody yelled something. I knew it wasn't a sexual comment. I knew it was a pregnant comment.
Yeah.
So like that is a hard shift for me as well too, to be like, oh.
So because they're saying listen, she said, listen, I heard a comment and I knew it wasn't going to be a sexual comment. How did you know it's not going to be a sexual comment? Why are you projecting already, knowing that the person was going to make a comment and it wasn't going to be sexual? So her mind's already focused on that arena. It's going to be an insatiable hunger because you're not going to be able to fulfill somebody's hunger of wanting that validation. The work needs to be done. The work needs to be done. Okay? Because it's going to cause behaviors that are going to be unfriendly to this relationship. You're already thinking, oh, I know this one's going to say a comment, but the comment, I know it's not going to be sexual.
Oh, like people aren't viewing me in like this sexual lens. They're viewing me through this like motherly lens. And I have to find a way to find confidence through that. Okay. So at this point in time, we are going to be married for 2 years very shortly.
Yeah.
And
no, I thought it was 3.
No, it's 2, baby.
Oh.
2018.
That was like forever.
All right. Is there any part of you that is worried that our sex life is never going to be as exciting as it was before we got married?
No, not at all. I don't. I don't think that. I think that we're going through a transition, and to expect us not to go through transitions is naive. And I'm riding with you, and I hope that you're riding with me, and we'll be able to get through it.
I want that too. I think that like my big fear in all of this is if you're having a hard time separating like pregnant me from me, are you going to have a hard time separating mother me from sexual me? So, I mean, I want us to continue having these conversations. And again, like I value it so much to know where you're at and to keep checking in with you. But yeah, like I want to stay awake in this area because it does matter so much to me. And I think it really does add to the health of our relationship.
Well, your answer right there lets me know that it's not going to be something that we battle with forever, because it's so much to do with how we interact with sex and what we're using sex for. When the baby's out, we're not using sex to get the baby out. We're using sex for pleasure at that point. And because it matters to you and it matters to me, we both will be able to do the things that we need to do to make sure that we have that sex that we used to have. This is my time to like really let your body take over right now. I don't want to be the person that's like, oh, you're pregnant, you gotta, you know what I mean, figure this out right now. Like, this is not the time for that. The time right now.
Yeah. Anyway, so obviously, honestly, Jay, you ain't lying. She really is. She's on that verge. She turned on now. Can't lie to you. She ready to go now. Okay. And so in this particular space, look, I think, and she just said it now. Were you able to change your perspective of going from pregnant woman here to mother, and would you be able to look at me the same way and have that sexual desire? I think what Shannon is responding to is a lack of that desire. But again, I think it may be some intrinsic issues at the same time too, right? I think because there's a fearful avoidant, right? They want to be desired, like they want to be wanted, like they need it. Yeah, for them it's a hunger for them. They want to know that they're desired and they're wanted all round. That is fearful avoidance. Now, some of it is good, and some of it needs to be changed, because some of it also is coming from a place of a lack of validation and a lack of esteem, right? And needing that external validation from outside. So there's partly that's good. There's a part of it which is okay, which is all right in a relationship, and there's a part of it which also it is if it's not healed, it becomes a very dangerous thing. It takes you into places you need not be. And so I can see that she probably wants more from him in terms of being more aggressive with wanting her, desiring her, wanting her to feel sexy. You understand what I'm saying to you? She wants to feel sexy, blood. Yeah? And I get it. But there's also an aspect where, sis, if you don't control your loins and start talking and being real, you're going to find yourself outside sending more than just a boob pic. You're going to be outside. And that's the biggest issue. You're going to be outside. So we need more of that conversation, because right now, the way that Jared's looking, it's looking very dejected. He's looking very withdrawn a little bit as well from the relationship. Now, what is that going to do for Shan Boody? Now she's thrown herself into work, but for how long? She's thrown herself into work, but for how long? How long? You know what I mean? So, yeah. I'm gonna leave it there for now. We've done an hour. I will do more research because I really love this topic. I definitely want to do a more focused conversation around fearful avoidant and dismissive avoidant for you guys around these two. Now that I get a bit more understanding, and I love. Again, I want to see them work. I want to see it work. Okay, I want to see it work. I want to see them actually progress again once more. As somebody said, he is lying on his back. Yes, it is a very subtle cue of the fact that he's not as open emotionally to her. This is why he's always pulling away and she's always chasing. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, Chew? So you know what I mean. But I gotta let it go because I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. Elson said members live. Maybe I'll make it a members live. We'll see what I want. You know what I mean? Yeah, maybe I can do it members live. That's a good point. That's good point. All right, guys, I gotta go. But I want to let you guys know, have you guys signed up for next month's conversation? Have you signed up for next month's conversation? I've seen a few already signed up. I appreciate you guys already. Sign up for the 100 Club. Go and click on the description box down below, okay? Come and sign up for the 100 Club, okay? All right? We want to see you next month. We're discussing things like this, having real conversations. And if you love real conversations, we need to see you next month. Don't waste time. Okay, we want to see you next month. We want to see you having been in the conversation. It was a really good time last time. So, the 100 Club, okay, all right, the 100 Club, baby. Okay, make sure you join the 100 Club. It's in October. Okay, I put a link in the chat there. The 100 Club. Make sure you join it. Join us for our session as well. You know what I'm saying to you? Yeah, someone said I need to do better than members live. I definitely do. I can't even lie to you. I need to do better. All right, cool, guys. I appreciate you guys. Stay locked, stay loaded. We'll see you again very, very soon. Much love, much appreciation.